Hi, Gummies. As you can see, I have yet another guest for you today. I have Trey. We've known each other for a couple of years, for quite a few years, right? All right, Trey, introduce yourself to the Gummies.
Hi, my name is Trey. Author name is Trey Branson. Um, Dorla is my aunt.
Right.
Just here to answer her questions or do an interview. I'm not really a public speaker or anything yet. I should be trying to do more of it, so I'm a little nervous. But
Oh, no, don't be nervous at all. This is just a conversation between two people that just happens to be recorded, right? I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I know that you spent some time in prison, and I am proud of you for coming home and hitting the ground and just getting on your grind right away and doing your best to make sure that you're not guest again in those services. So I just kind of want to talk to you a little bit about your journey, and hopefully someone who is watching this will be encouraged and want to be able to kind of do some things to put themselves on a better path as well. That's really why I want to talk to you, just to encourage other people, because you never know what other folks are dealing with or going through. So the first thing I wanted to ask is, what happened? How did you end up uh, in prison?
I was usually a first guy outside things, having access to certain parts of these buildings and stuff like that. So it was easy for me to find ways to do things I wasn't supposed to. So uh, afterwards, I was working overnight, so office buildings, I had babysitting, different things, and I noticed that they all had like laptop computers inside the cubicles at all these office buildings. One day I was at a food market with my cousin, and we walked past a computer repair shop, and they were offering money for used laptops and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember one day I was back at work and doing my rounds, and I saw these laptops on top of the desk, which is like, for some reason, it just put my head like, laptops. This guy at the food market offers money for using the laptops. And I didn't really think nothing of it at that time. It was just in the back of my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But once I wasn't working for the security company anymore, that's when like thought about everything. I needed some extra money. And I put a plan together to gain entry to some of these businesses that I had worked at before and steal the laptop. So that's what I did.
So that happened, and then ultimately you got caught. You went away, and you were sentenced to how long?
10 years in prison.
10 years.
Yes.
So when you were in prison for those 10 years, I know, you know, back in the day, it was like people go away, they find Islam. What was your spiritual walk while you were inside? Did you get introduced to Islam while you were there? Did this get you closer to your Jesus? Because I know you grew up in a Christian home, or were you like, look, I'm just keeping my head down. It's not even about no Jesus, no Allah. I just want to do my time and get out as quick as I can.
Um, in prison, religion is used as like protection. Um, Mainly Muslim. Like a lot of people who are scared or um, just want to be protected, they join. I mean, Muslims is almost like a gang. I
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't familiar with Islam. I didn't want that. I grew up in the church, but it seemed like the Christians was something that homosexuals gravitated towards for some reason, like congregating with them. So I didn't want to be a part of that.
Right.
So I kind of just stayed to myself. Um, just did my time. I just was the same. Like a lot of times people go to prison and they change and
Hmm.
into what they want to be, or you could be anything in prison. Nobody knows you, so you
Right.
can hear whatever and take on a persona or whatever. But I really just remain myself. I'm just a relaxed, laid back guy. I just was myself, and that's what helped me get through. I wasn't pretending to be anything I wasn't, and I kind of just chilled, stayed myself. Uh, I prayed, but I prayed like to myself. I didn't go to the church. And that's basically that.
Okay. That's real. Wow. That's interesting. I never heard that um, perspective before about people joining up with different beliefs for protection or for whatever reason, you know. So that was interesting to know. So what helped? So what helped you kind of get through? Just because I know, you know, being inside, the days are long. How did you keep productive? How did you keep yourself from going crazy and making sure that you did maintain your authentic self?
Um, I don't. I just try to stay grounded. I try not to let things that were going on the outside. I try not to let that affect me too much because it's nothing I could control. Um, like I lost my grandma, my dad's mom,
Mm-hmm.
and that was tough. Um, just communication with my family, friends, letters, phone calls, some visits that helped the time go by. And the biggest thing was I started writing.
Mm-hmm. So, how did that start? Did you, when you sat down with pen in hand, was that your thought, like, I'm going to write a book? Or were you just trying to pass the time away and just writing down some thoughts? And then later on, it kind of developed into stories.
Well, I always was a reader. Like my
Mm-hmm.
mom would always take us to the library every summer, whether or not we had a reading list or not. She'd take us to the library and make us get books and read them. And I like reading was when I was young. Like reading was probably one of my favorite things to do. I would get caught like reading with flashlights in the bedroom when I'm supposed to be asleep. So
Mm-hmm.
I was always a reader. So when you read that many books, you kind of know the format. You can of how it goes to write one. And what happened was I was in solitary confinement in 2000 and I want to say 2008, 2009. I went to prison in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
So at this time, 2008, 2009, I can't really remember what year. I was in solitary confinement, and there was a guy that was a couple of cells down from me, and he had said he was going to start writing a book.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, oh, all right, cool. I heard like a lot of dudes in prison wrote books. I never really thought about doing it, but it was a thing that people did do. So when this dude said he was gonna start writing a book, I was just like, all right, well, you know, whatever. We gonna be here. We ain't going nowhere. So you know,
Right.
we want to hear. We want to see. We want to hear it. It was like 10 dudes inside of a block in a
Mm-hmm.
cell. We could all hear each other and talk to each other, whatever. So maybe a few weeks went by, maybe a month. I don't know. But he was like, yo, I'm almost done with my book. I was like, all right, let me see. So he passed down a couple chapters that he had, and I started reading it. And it wasn't that good to me, but I was like, yeah, this is some good work.
But you were still going to be encouraging to a brother, right?
Yeah, I wanted to encourage him and uplift him and stuff, but I'm like, oh, this is terrible. It's really terrible. Like the whole format and everything, like this is not even book format. Like, and I was like, I could do way better than this.
Right.
So that was the turning point. That was when I was like, I'm gonna start writing a book. And
Awesome.
I started. That's when I started.
Okay. So you started writing your book, and that's how you were, a part of the process. So far, how many books have you written?
From then,
Hmm. Till now.
yeah, from then until, well, I haven't written a book since I've been home. All the
Okay.
books I was actually incarcerated for. So from 2000, I'm gonna try to get this time frame. That was 2009. So from 2009 until 2013 December, I wrote 7 books.
Wow. How many do
And
you have published so far?
it was 7 books, but one of them was so long. April Showers was so long that I split it into two and made 2 books out of it. So that would be 8. And so
Wow.
far I have Showers, what was April, 100 Yard Game, Trey. I have 4 published.
Okay. Well, you were kind of reciting the names of the books to yourself, but tell them out loud so
Okay.
my
All right.
watchers can look for them if they so desire.
April Showers,
Mhm.
The Coldest April, Trayvon's Revenge, and 100 Yard Game.
Okay. Tell me a little
Are
bit
the
about
4.
April Showers. I know April Showers, you even have commercials or like demos for like a little short film that you were doing to advertise that.
April Showers is, it wasn't the first book that I wrote,
Hmm.
and it wasn't the first book that I published, but it's probably the most well received. It's probably the book that has done the best sales wise.
Okay.
I don't even think it's my best book, but my readers think that this is the best book. Um, I have a trailer to it. It's on my YouTube channel, Trey Branson.
Hmm.
It's also on my website, TreyBranson360.com. So you can watch it on there as well.
Okay. I might drop it in here so people can see it. I think it was very nicely done. I think who did it? Who shot the video for you?
A girl named Taniqua McDuffie.
Okay. She did an excellent job. So give
Yeah.
us a brief summary about that.
Well, it says she's drop dead gorgeous, she's selfish, and she's determined to own the world, or at very least be loved by a man capable of owning the world. Her father is an iron-fisted, overprotective ex-gangster with a colorful past, and he'll do anything to keep her safe, even if it means compromising his own principles. April thinks her father is just out to rain on her parade, but little does she know about the dangers of life that she's fallen in love with. Soon she finds herself in the middle of a love triangle. April is being pulled between 2 directions, and her heart is being ripped in half by 2 most important men in her life. One she loves desperately, and the one who desperately loves her. Life is all about choices, and love is all about loyalty. So what happens when your loyalty leads you to make the wrong choice? It rains. Um, it's about a 14-year-old girl named April
Hmm.
Showers, her last name. She grows up. She grows up in a middle class family, but she's attracted to men who, or boys who, are in the streets and do the wrong things. So it's not too far fetched from what goes on every day
Right.
in the urban community. And I think it is a really, really good book. Not only for young women, but women of all ages like this book, and men too. It's just entertaining. It kind of takes people back to their earlier years when they read it.
Awesome. And then what's the next book you have?
The next book is, it's called The Coldest April. It's part 2
Hmm.
to April Showers. It has the same synopsis. It's just like I said, it was, I don't want to get that away again, but it's part 2. I had a review from Angela Yee from Power 105, who a radio personality, very well known, and this is her review of the book, and I think this is like the dopest thing that has probably come from it. she said if this book was a soundtrack, it would sound like Keisha Cole's first album the way it is. That's the only way I can describe it. April's voice is that powerful. I've read plenty of books, but this was just raw emotion. It's phenomenal.
Awesome. Oh, congratulations. Yeah, Angela, even I know who she is, and I'm not really not really down, not really that on top of that much of hip hop culture or whatever. But yeah, I know who she is. So that's awesome. And then you have Trayvon's Revenge that was published.
Yeah, Trayvon's Revenge. That's my favorite book.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's about ex Navy SEAL, ex African American Navy SEAL named Luxor Kismayo.
Mm-hmm.
He is present in the apartment complex when Trayvon Martin is murdered.
Wow.
And he sees the entire thing, and he catches his own videotape. And it's a whole fiction book surrounding the Trayvon Martin situation.
Okay.
And
so it was told from the apartment manager's perspective of what he saw.
Well, he wasn't the apartment manager. He was just staying in the apartment complex at that time, and caught it on video. And he tries to turn it into the police. And then next thing he knows, like the whole government is trying to kill him. They try to keep this this video from going public because they didn't want the world to know what George Zimmerman actually did. And it went real deep. It's like my type of Jason Bourne, Will Smith. It's crazy. It's just the government trying to stop him and trying to protect that stand your ground law, and it's a real good book.
Awesome. And then you have Jordan. I knew I was gonna mess it up. I said I was gonna write it down. But
Michael Jordan, Sneaker Music and Violence.
Yes.
Yeah, I always forget about that one. That's just like a tribute to Michael Jordan's influence on sneakers and music culture. It has all of the sneakers that he came out with, and like lyrics from rappers who have mentioned Michael Jordan in their lyrics and stuff like that. It's a good read too.
Okay. Yeah, but that one's not a story, right? That's the one.
No,
that's tribute.
There's a lot of pictures in it,
mm-hmm.
Mostly of sneakers and hip hop artists who've used his name in their lyrics.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, do you have a plan as to when you will release the other books that you have?
No. I'm actually gonna write. I'm actually have started brainstorming and setting things in motion to release a third April book.
Okay. Awesome.
It's gonna be Forever April, and I'm gonna try to get it out in April 2020.
Okay. Awesome.
Believe it or not, a lot of the other books I haven't even had them typed. They're all still handwritten from when I was in prison.
Okay.
All of them I brought home a big box of notebooks.
Right.
And the first book that I typed, it took me forever. So I started having people, paying people to type them up and edit them and stuff. But I have one other book that's typed. It's called Deeper Than Rap. And I haven't decided if I'm going to release it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I had some interest from a local rapper to turn it into a movie for him.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's still in the works?
Kind of. I'm not really sure if that's what I want to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't really been in author mode for a long time, or it's been more.
What's giving you pause?
It's something I love doing. I just haven't had the time because it doesn't really pay the bills.
Right.
It's more of a passion or a hobby, I guess. Well, I wouldn't say a hobby, but it's more of a passion. But like I said, it doesn't really pay bills.
I understand that, but okay. So you came out. Tell me, how did you go take that journey of getting your books published? Like, you never wrote before. I know you read plenty of books, but you've never written a book before. So how did you know what to do or what channels to go through to get your books published?
Well, I did that research when I was in prison. I already knew about how I would go about it. I didn't want to get or attempt to get a major publishing deal or sign on with anybody else. I wanted to do my own publishing and get my own royalties and make the majority of money off my books rather than it's
Someone.
almost like the music industry. I wanted to retain my royalties and my publishing. I didn't want someone else to own my work. So I went through a company called Create Space,
Hmm.
which is now KDP Publishing, and it's owned by Amazon. So with you don't need any money for anybody who's watching that wants to or thought about publishing a book or wants to publish a book. You don't need any money to do it. It doesn't cost you anything. You go
So
through
what's
KDP.
that website again, or what's the website that you used? And you said it was with Amazon.
Yeah, it's called KD Publishing, and it's owned by Amazon. And basically, you just you go on, you upload your 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 manuscript in PDF format.
Hmm.
Um, Design a book cover, or you have someone design a book cover. That might be the only fee associated with actually publishing
Hmm.
is the cost of the book cover, because graphic designers charge you unless you do it yourself. I actually did mine myself, and um, you pretty much are off from there. They make it available on Amazon, which is like the biggest outlet there is.
Right.
As far as books, they make it available in an ebook format, and then you just, if you want 50 copies or 100 copies, however many copies you want to buy, you get them at a discounted price, and you buy them in bulk, and you can sell them off your own website or out the trunk of your car or however you want to do it, or you can direct people to Amazon and they buy them and then you get royalties. So,
Now, do they do any type of editing or anything like that? The way that you upload it, is that the way that they will bind it and publish it in ebook
the
form?
way, yeah, you have to do all the editing and everything yourself. They have specific guidelines that it must meet as far as uh, like borders and headings and all that manuscript stuff. But other than that, yeah, they just press them up for you and put them in book format, and you're on your way.
Awesome. Okay. So you came home, you did that. When you first came home, was your goal to just work that work that as your employment, or did you have other plans? Like, what was your plan to make sure that, like I said, you did not have to get another, have to stay again at those accommodations?
Well, I had when you're in prison, like the whole like it's not a the it's a lack of reality. Like you have after being away for so long,
Mm-hmm.
like you think things are gonna be so easy when you finally get out and like, oh, I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna be a famous author, I'm gonna sell
Right.
1 million copies, my books are good, and people are just gonna snatch them up. I didn't really know what to expect. My mom and my sister they got me a MacBook for Christmas, and
Awesome.
I got it, and they gave me when I got out, and that was probably like the best gift ever. So I used that MacBook to uh, type up my first book. But when I first got out, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I only had a high school diploma. I didn't really have any other trainings that would help me. When I was in prison, I had took floor covering, so I knew kind of like how to lay down tiles and carpet and stuff like that. But I didn't know how to do it to like professional standards where someone could hire me to do it in their home or in their business.
Mm-hmm.
So that not to be useful at all, honestly. And I don't want to get too deep into it, but they don't really give you the tools in prison that you need to be successful anyway, because they don't want you to be successful. They want you to come back to prison because that's how they secure their prison. In New York State, where I'm from, is a big prison industry.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what they look forward to. But I was able to gain employment through a program that helped ex-felons, and they paid you $40 a day, and drove you around, and we cleaned up trash on the side of the road, and we shoveled snow and all types of things. And once a week, they took you to different places where you could put applications in, with employers that actually already knew that you were a convicted felon and you had did prison time. So these employers were already felon friendly,
Mm-hmm.
basically. And one of the first places that I went with this program was a landscaping company,
Okay.
and this was like February 2014, and it was just about to be fall and stuff. So the landscaping company hired me. That was my first job. Before that, I would put in applications or whatever, and I didn't have a resume. I had no work experience from the past 9 years, so it was hard. But this company gave me a chance, and I started working on landscaping. And after that, I had work experience. And once you already have a job, it's easier to get a job
Yeah.
because employers know someone's took a chance on you and you're still working. So from there, I just slowly
Climbed.
climbed up the employment ladder, and um, I don't remember how it came to me, but I was just researching jobs that I could make a good living, where the felony wouldn't hinder me. And one of the um, careers that I came upon was getting a CDL license to drive tractor trailers.
Mm-hmm.
So I enrolled in a training program. It was an 18-week program where they taught you how to drive tractor trailers, and they got you your CDL permit, and they got you your license, and they did um, job placement.
Okay.
So I went into the program. It was like a full-time program, 7 to 3 all day. I got an overnight job to coincide with it, and I just grinded it out until I was done.
Okay. What kept you encouraged? Because I know when you come out, like you said, things didn't quite go the way that you thought that it would with the book sales, but like what kept you moving? What kept you pushing forward? Like you're not going to give up. You're going to keep on trying to work this thing until you found uh, something that you wanted to work and something that actually paid you enough to make a living.
Well, honestly, I wasn't at heart. I was never like a jail person. If that makes sense. Like, if it wasn't for, I mean, I got into trouble when I was younger and did a
Mm-hmm.
lot of stuff. I never really made it a practice to do things that would get me in prison. So that's not really who I was.
Right.
I had a job. I was a security guard. You know what I'm saying? I always had a job, even though I did something stupid. Working was always like my number one thing. So that wasn't. It was still, even when I was in prison, I had a job.
Right.
You know, so I made license plates. So
They
working
really
wasn't the
do
right.
that? They really do that? I thought that was like a urban legend or whatever.
License as far world nationwide, only manufactured in prisons, and we made 40 cents not even 40 cents. We made like 32 to 38 cents an hour doing that.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
So if I could work 40 hours a week for, I think every 2 weeks we got like $60 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
If I could work 40 hours a week for 30 hours for $30 a week, then that wasn't too hard for me to come home and get a job. But I just knew that I didn't want to go back.
Right.
I never wanted to go back. I knew that. I was never worried about one of the things that I even worried about because I knew I wasn't.
Hmm.
I knew I wasn't too. So a
So
lot of
then
guys have a hard time.
for some reason, the connection, I don't know, like you're starting to freeze on me. So you were saying that you knew that
Yeah,
you
I knew I wasn't going back. um, yeah, it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard for me at all. I mean, the main restrictions on parole is curfew,
mm-hmm.
um, and urine tests, and you have to have a job. Three biggest things, and I didn't have a problem with either one of them because didn't have any reason to be out after 10 o'clock. I don't use drugs, and I planned on keeping a job because that's the only way I was going to make money anyway.
Right.
But you'd be surprised how many thousands and thousands of men go back to prison for one of those things. But to me, it wasn't an issue.
Right. But I know, like, for like, I've, having conversations, um, I went through a little phase in my younger years as well, where I like the quote unquote bad boys or whatever, and they have spent some time as well away, but their mentality was like, they just didn't want to take any old job. You know what I mean? I want to find work, but it's because of my record and it's the man that's keeping me down, and that's why I can't find a job. And it's like, not really the man keeping you down, sweetie. You're just not willing to apply for a truck driving job. You're not willing to go 18 weeks or whatever. So, like, what would be your advice to someone like that that's thinking, well, I did this time, I have this record, there's nothing out here for me, so I might as well go back to doing what I was doing before I went in, or I guess they just live at home with their parents forever and let their parents take care of them.
I really, I've tried. I've tried to give advice
Mm-hmm.
to other guys that were on parole. I watched guys go back and forth, back and forth. Guys that said they was never going back, I watched them go back. Um, Nobody. My personal opinion on that is people are grown when they're going to do what they want, and people will change only when they're ready. I know. Okay, I know. I know quite a few people have reached out to me. Some people that I know, some strangers, when they see my story, they be like, "Oh, my nephew or my son or somebody is
Right.
about to get out, or they just got out. Can you talk to them?" Or I've talked to a couple guys, and they're not going to change it if they're not ready.
Right.
Fast money is always going to be more appealing than getting up and going to work at 5 in the morning. I went as far as to show guys my pay stubs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can really make some money. Like, who doesn't want to make after taxes driving a truck? But you would rather sell drugs and make $400 or $500 a week on low level drug dealer life. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
It'll never make sense. I've tried. They don't listen. I don't know.
Okay. So basically, it just boils down to your mentality. Basically, your maturity level, and I guess your mentality on what you want to do with your life, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all, I don't know. I don't know about the mind conditioning, or I think maybe it's really deep, something deep that I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah. But also too, through this journey, you had an opportunity to be an entrepreneur and join up on a business venture with your brother, right?
Yeah, my brother had a clothing line. He had started making T-shirts and hats, and do. Um, Let's put us all into it. And once I was to help financially, then I did that, and we opened a store in Charlotte, North Carolina. The brand is called Guaggi,
Mhm.
Guagggi, which stands for Get Up and Go Get It.
Mhm.
You could check it out on Guaggi.com, and it's an athletic brand. Mostly shorts, t-shirts, sweatpants, things of that nature, all athletic wear. And basically, I just invested it money with store in Charlotte. We opened a store here in Buffalo. Um, after after the year lease, we determined the Charlotte store wasn't doing too well,
Okay.
too receptive, and we were in a mall. Both our locations are in malls, and
Mhm.
mall rent is very high. It's very high, and brick and mortar stores aren't really doing too well.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Close. Everybody's directing their their consumers to online, which is cheaper and better because it has no overhead costs, no employee costs, no rent, no like. We closed that store and now we're just focused on the Buffalo store and online.
Okay.
Yep.
That's awesome. So, who came up with the name Guaji?
Oh, my brother,
Okay.
that was already it was his brand and selling shirts online and out of the trunk of his car. I basically just invested and helped him uh, open up a store, open two stores. Well, now we have one.
Okay. Awesome. So you don't help you don't help with the designs or in there with the machine
No,
trying to make.
yeah, he's very protective over the designs and stuff. I just sit back and let him work. I don't really get too involved or anything like that.
Okay. Also, okay, so the other thing I wanted to ask you too is you were gone for 9 years. You went in at 22,
Right,
right? And then you came out at 30.
30. Yep.
So that's a big chunk of your life that you spent behind bars. So how was the adjustment when you came home as far as, socially, not just, socially, pop culture, technology. So how did you transition back into the world? And, a mindset of a 22-year-old is a lot different from the mindset of a 30-year-old man as well. So how
Right.
did you make that adjustment when you came home?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even feel like I'm fully adjusted. Um, I was gone for almost 9 years. To this day, 1.5 years. So I was gone a lot longer than
You've been home?
I've been home,
Hmm.
and I'd be just looking like, wow, I was really gone a long time, and I missed when Facebook started. I missed the whole MySpace era. I missed the whole Napster era. I missed a couple eras.
Right.
Um, I just came out and social media was the thing. Like we barely even had cameras on our phones, if I
Right.
remember. It was still flip phones. There was no smartphones, anything like that.
Right.
It was just like, wow, I had missed like the first 6 iPhones.
Yep, the whole touch screen. Yeah, yeah.
Even the money, I had never seen like the new money with the different colors and
Oh
everything
yeah,
like
they made
that.
the
Like
face
that was
bigger on it and all of that.
yeah, they made it. It was a lot of different. Like the money didn't even the money looked like play money. I was just like, wow. A lot of stuff changed. Social media like was just like mesmerizing. Like I just couldn't believe that you could just get in touch with the whole entire world from a phone.
Wow. So basically, when
Yeah,
you come home, you just kind of just, I guess, just take it little bit by little bit, just trying to learn and absorb all of the
right,
changes to the world.
right. Yeah, it was to see like how everything had evolved.
Mhm.
I say a short period of time, but it wasn't really that short. But just to see how things had evolved, like everything was crazy.
Right. So when you're inside, did they limit, like, were you able to keep up to date with magazines or like the news, but they try to limit the daily news and stuff too, as far as to make, I think
Yeah,
before they try to limit it because of other inmates that are coming in. I guess you don't want them to have too much information about that or current cases or something. I don't know.
there's only so much you can get. Like you can't have a newspaper the first day it comes out. You can only have like the newspaper got to be like 2 days old before you can have it.
Mm-hmm.
They hold them for whatever. I don't know. I still don't know what the reason behind that is, but um, you can watch TV. We got magazines. They have you so certain things they didn't want you to read. I don't know what those things were because we never knew. But sometimes you would get magazines and like pages would be ripped out of them. So they ripped certain like whatever they didn't want you to see. They ripped them out the magazines before they gave them to you. I still never.
Understood that either.
Well, I don't know. I just would like to see and see what they were.
Right. So did that help you feel like you were still in touch with the outside world, being able to have at least some access to um
Yeah,
articles?
that was definitely one of the things that you look forward to was new magazines and watching TV and talking on the phone because that was the only way you could really keep up with outside world and what was going on. Yeah.
So also, when you came home, how did your friendships and relationships, as far as meeting females and things of that nature, how did that change for you? Were you still in touch with the same friends that you had before you went in, or
Yeah.
did you change your circle? It's like, all right, now I got to meet some new people.
Well, my friends wasn't really. It's not like the friends that I had would like influence my decision to do what I did. So it's not like I had that was the reason why I went to prison or it's the reason why I got in trouble. So it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't like I needed to change my friends that I grew up with, and the majority of them are doing very well, and all of them I only had one friend who's anything illegal. Everybody else owns a business or has a career. So I have a pretty good circle of friends. Like meeting and talking to females was like really awkward because I
Mm-hmm.
had like spoken to anybody new and all that time. So I was awkward though, like
Say that
because
again.
of it. Huh?
Say that again. I'm sorry. For whatever reason, this connection is wearing me out. You're freezing up a little bit.
Okay. I said I would consider myself socially awkward of just a little bit because of the time that I spent away.
Mm-hmm.
And for that long, you don't speak to the opposite sex, and you'll be kind of nervous around them,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you meet people. So yeah, it had an effect on me.
So how did you decide to share your past with them? Is that something that you would wait until you got to know them to be like, well, first of all, I need to determine if you somebody who's going to be around next week before I share this with you, or is that something that you share right up front because you wanted to be, transparent?
Um, Telling anybody it was nothing that I was like really ashamed of. Like it's kind of sad, but I don't secret that there's a large number of American males who have been in prison in this country. So it's not like something that nobody will believe
Right.
or something I don't think is. I mean, I've never been in a position where somebody has treated me differently, but then again, I put myself in a position to win or not to go back. So I've never had anybody try to hold it against me.
That's good. That's real good. That is so true. To put yourself in a position to win. I like that. Oh, I know what else I wanted to ask. Foundation. You have a foundation, right? Or you work with the foundation?
Oh, the Guachi Foundation,
Yes.
gfoundation.com. To partner with uh, groups that help young minorities. I've only done one event to date, one fundraiser. I did a charity basketball game between some high school star athletes and the Buffalo Police Department, and that went well. My schedule, I just have to. Oh, we donated money to the YMCA as a part of that. We donated money to the youth basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
They use that money to travel to Las Vegas, where they in. I think they won. I think they won a silver bracket in like a nationwide basketball tournament. And one of those kids actually got drafted by got accepted to Tennessee, a Division I university. So I like to think that we had something to do with that, because if they would have never made that trip, I don't think he would have got scouted.
Wow.
And also, we donated money to a local YMCA. To they use that money to buy supplies for their summer camp, basketballs, and but I'm gonna put some other together too as well.
So what is your future plan for the foundation? If money wasn't an object and time was limitless, what would you do with that foundation?
Um, Create opportunities for the inner city youth. We employ inner city youth at our store through the Buffalo Urban League.
Okay.
Um, I don't really count that as a Guatemala initiative, but it could be.
It's
Um,
all a part of your brand though, right? Good the
right.
store
Yeah.
foundation is all your
Right.
brand.
It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely all part of the brand. I would just, I would do fundraisers. I would help donate money. We do have a book bag drive coming up too, for back to school. We did that a couple years in a row. Well, again, it is under the brand umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give back, and I would, if the money wasn't the object and time was limitless, I would do a lot of public speaking. I would share my story with um, young teenagers who are thinking about doing something that'll land them in prison and deter them from that. If I
What
could,
what would your advice be, Trey, today? What would your advice be to 21-year-old Trey?
go to truck driving school.
All
That
right.
would be it.
That's it. Just go to truck driving school.
Go to truck driving school. I would have cut out 8.5 years of torture if I would have just did. I'm happy with what I'm doing now. So if I would have just did that, then I went to truck driving school with 21, 22 year olds, and I you doing the right thing.
So
I could have cut out a whole.
So, do you think? I know sometimes when people say, "Would you have changed anything?" and a lot of times people's response is, "No, I wouldn't change anything because of what I went through with who I am today." Do you feel that way too? If you had an opportunity to go back in time to change anything, would you make changes, or would you say it was just a part of my story and it made me the guy who I am today?
It's tough. I mean, I feel like my experiences made me who I am and rounded me out and showed me different things. My only problem, my only problem with prison was it was a waste of learn things. I feel like I used my time wisely while I was there, and I feel like I gotta be careful. I'm not. It wasn't a good experience, but I took the good from the experience.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Hmm.
So it's almost like college. No, I didn't have the fun partying type of experience in prison, but I was able to be around so many different guys from different walks of life who grew up poor, guys who grew up in rich families and did white collar crimes,
Right.
and I was able to learn in not good things, but we learned just a bunch of things. But it was a waste of time.
Right. When you were going through your trial, you felt like it wasn't just about because
I
it
didn't
was.
go. I didn't go to trial. I took a plea deal.
Oh, okay. But,
I didn't actually go to trial. No.
but your lawyer, when they were presenting that, it was still had to get presented before.
My lawyer, my lawyer was an ex-judge,
Oh,
and I felt as though that was a good thing because he knew both sides or whatever. But what I didn't realize is that this guy knew the judges, the district attorneys, and everything, and they are all friends. They hang out on the weekends. They play golf together, and take your money and tell you that they're going to get you a good deal or whatever. And at the end of the day, they play favors with each other. And under the table, who knows what my lawyer was doing with the judge that he knows, that he used to be colleagues with because he was a judge. So who knows?
yeah.
This was my first time in prison, and I received a 10-year sentence. So who
Yeah.
really knows what these guys behind closed doors? They trade favors for favors. Well, last time, the last guy that you brought before me, I did you a favor and I let him go early. So this guy, I'm gonna have to stick it to this guy. I'm gonna give him 10. All right, well, cool. Like who knows?
Right. Yeah, because when you were like you said, you were a first time offender, you weren't necessarily one of those youth who had been back and forth
Right,
in the court systems, not like you had any other marks on your record. And, we didn't get a chance to discuss, but you were military.
right.
And so you feel like if you had with all of that, your credentials, if you were in another skin color, that would have definitely reduced your time, you think?
I think so. I don't actually cases similar to mine where receive less time. I never did that, but I don't know. I think judging by the way that things have been going, I don't think it's too far fetched to believe that I would have received less time.
Had you been right?
Right.
Mhm. Now, with your military background, you were in the Navy,
Air Force
Air Force,
Reserve.
the Air Force Reserves. So once you have a record, what is your relationship with Air Force Reserve? Do they discharge you, or are you still?
I have a less than honorable discharge.
So there's no way to be able to even pull on those benefits or any type of
No,
programs or anything from that.
no.
Okay. Have you ever thought about going back to, or not necessarily the prison that you were in, but going to like local, we call what's the juvie, like juvie hall or
I,
other prisons to kind of speak or anything like that?
my cousin Jessica was working at a youth detention center in DC. Had me come out. I think it was maybe like 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Teach her classes. There, I did that.
Was it well
It was
received?
it was cool. I mean, kids. They'll listen to you. They'll they'll give you all the eye contact, but I had people try to talk to me when I was younger about certain stuff, and I just give them like a stare and nod, and yeah, I know I'll do better. But does it actually work?
Mm-hmm.
I would like to think that maybe a couple kids that you speak to out of a group of that will affect them, but you're not going to reach a whole classroom or a group. People are really stuck in their ways. It takes something. It takes the majority of people. It takes something drastic for people to change.
Mm-hmm. Do you think there would have been anything that someone could have said to you? Because, you come from a 2-parent home, you have a older sister, younger brother. So, you got a nice little family there, nice support system. You had your grandparents were in your life. Do you think there could have been anything someone could have said to you that would have changed your path?
Honestly, no.
Yeah. It just had to be.
Yeah, the time. Right. Like you have to, something has to happen, or a light bulb has to go off in your head. But no, I think people usually learn best off their own experiences.
Yeah.
At least in my case, so I don't really know others. But so
Yeah.
I had to learn.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I guess that's it. I know I was about to wrap it up, and then I remembered about the foundation. But I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule and chatting with me. But like I said, I do appreciate it. I watch you, I watch your brother, and I watch our other family members too. But like I said, I watched your journey, and I'm really happy to see that you're about trying to be positive. You guys are like really working hard and grinding and trying to make your place in this world. So I was like, you know what? I want to have them on to have you on to talk to my gummies and, like I said, and hopefully maybe encourage somebody or even a parent to know, like, even if their child did take a certain path in life, that doesn't mean that it's just downhill from there or that's the end of their story. That they still got time to turn it around and still be positive and take a good path. So I like I said, I appreciate that. I appreciate being able to have the opportunity to see you guys to grow, to keep pushing or whatever. So any last words, advice, or anything you want to share?
Just put your mind to whatever you want to achieve, and you can do it. Like anything is possible. Anything is possible. You could jump over any obstacle. I really believe that, and just gotta put your mind to it. I don't know. It's good to be able to talk about some things sometimes. Like, just for myself. Sometimes I forget about like what I won't say forget about what I've been through, but sometimes I need to talk about it and relive it a little bit I'm a little too hard on myself. So sometimes I don't really appreciate the fact that I've overcome some things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to talk about.
Absolutely. Like I said, you may have been away for those 9 years, but you then came home, you didn't gainful employment, living on your own, you were able to get your funds together. I mean, there's some people who have been working for those 9 years and they don't have the resources to be able to do that. So for you to be able to have the resources to help your brother financially and y'all, go in this thing together, that's awesome. Yeah, I think y'all are doing really good. Opening up at one point had 2 stores, plus the online business and stuff. So, that's something to be proud of. But we are our own worst critic. No matter what you're doing, you could have came out and became a millionaire and been a bestseller, but there's probably still going to be something in the back of your head that says it should have been 2 million. I should have had 7 books. You know, I should have had 8 books, 10, whatever. It's always going to be something that we beat ourselves up with because we're just on worse critics. Because I have to go through the same thing. Go through the same thing. You know. So
Yep.
I guess it's just life. All right, sir. You have a great evening, and thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gummies, for tuning in today. I hope that there was something that you heard that will encourage you through your journey. Please drop your comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Have a great day on purpose, guys.